Hello everybody. So I haven't done a video or much blog posts really since after Shetland Week. So I've kind of been in a bit of a slump, so I thought I would do a video kind of thinking about my winter knitting planning, because I've kind of been doing a lot of kind of design work for Shetland Week, and after that, kind of the other kind of things that was in my head. But I want to do a bit, well no, not a bit, a lot of selfish knitting over the winter. And I thought I would start with, I did, after Woolwich, I was really wanting just to do a bit of selfish knitting, something that I'd kind of been thinking about for a while, and then I had in my head I wanted to do another Icelandic jumper, and I was thinking about what jumpers I was wanting to make and looking through all my books and stuff, and then I thought about the Gameldags, I think is how you say it, by Helene Magnusson, and I thought about getting out my chunky machine and looking through what I had enough to do to knit a body and sleeves, because I've got loads of loose individual balls of Lopi that I bought when I was before I went to Iceland and things like that. So I decided on that pattern, which is quite a classic Icelandic yoke, but it's quite a small motif. It's quite effective. So I looked in, and then I remembered that I had I bought a book, I think it's over there somewhere, one of the Lopi books. It was the one that they did, and it was all kind of sheep or related to sheep motifs on it, and I had knit the body and sleeves of that, I think quite soon after I came back from Iceland, I think, and I had started the yoke. The pattern was all in Icelandic, and I've done enough Icelandic jumpers that I could have worked out and everything, but I couldn't be bothered, and I wasn't really liking what I'd done so far. It was just a 2-colour yoke, so I decided to take off what I'd done of the yoke. It was only about 5 rows or so, so I just tinked it back individually, stitch by stitch, so that was great, and kind of fitted in the repeats to this Helene Magnusson pattern. So I did finish it, and that is this jumper. So I was really pleased with how it came out, and the main colour is the hazel heather colour. So this I already had, the body and sleeves I already had knitted, and you can't do rib or anything on a machine, so the pieces were flat anyway. So I just picked them up, and then I wasn't going to, but I decided, because the sleeves were still quite short, because 9 times out of 10 with knitting machines the row gauge is a lot shorter than if you're hand knitting, so even if you knit as many rows as the pattern says for a sleeve or for a body, it's nearly always still too short. So I just decided that I would do the pattern on the sleeves. So, and I was starting to stretch this orange, the bright orange, was like a partial ball from when I think I did the Stroker, the Isola Teague pattern, and as I was getting through it, and I thought, because I kind of rejigged the pattern about, and that's really the most colour you're using in the yoke, and I thought I was going to run out. So this is me, I'm trying to be good and not buy yarn, and I was stressing. I thought, well, if I've got to do the rest of the yoke and then use the orange in the sleeve pattern, I'm going to run out. So I ended up buying a ball of orange, which I didn't need to use, so that's great. So I've got another ball to add to the stash. So but yeah, I was really pleased with how it came out, and the fit is quite nice in the shoulders and everything. And I think also we had like I can't even remember what September was like, but October in Shetland we had such good weather basically the whole of October. It was dry and sunny and still quite warm, and because we never really get much of the summer, so in Shetland you're used to not being like roasting, but a lot of times it was maybe even still too warm for knitwear, so I've kind of not been thinking too much, or just been wearing stuff I have, not thinking too much about warm jumpers. But I would say within the last week, like today is freezing and horrible, really cold rain and everything, so it's like just getting me back into thinking about winter knitting. So this was my first thing. So yeah, I was really pleased with how that came out. And that's kind of got me back into plans. And another thing I was wanting to make, which I got yarn off eBay, which if there's any, like, I love to buy any Quince and Company yarn if I can get it. And off eBay I got I can't even remember how many, but I got it for so much cheaper than what it had been, and it's the Osprey. That's their like Aran weight yarn, and it's in this colour Marsh, which on its own, there was enough for like a jumper on its own. I thought, like, this is not really my colour. I don't hate it, but I just don't love it. Like, if it had been a grey or something, you know, I love my greys, then I would have been fine and I could have found something to do with it. And I thought, and so I need to combine this with something else. So it was actually ages ago, I think I bought this yarn, but what I'm gonna make with it is an Adelaide yoke pullover, which is from, I can't remember the name of the book, Vintage Modern Knits, and it's by Kate Osborne. So that's what it looks like, and I'm not just totally a fan exactly of the pattern on the yoke. I love the kind of Norwegian stars, but it kind of has a curvy bit, which I'm quite, when in my Fair Isle, I'm more a geometric shape kind of gal. So I have kind of I did redraw the yoke chart. So what I bought to go with that, but this is ages ago I bought this yarn, so it doesn't count for my whole not buying yarn thing, was three colours. For the lighting is absolutely horrendous today because it's so dark, but this 3 colours to go on the yoke. So I got gingerbread, fox and honey, which is one of those, the Quince and Company yarns, it's coming across more kind of lime green than it is. So I thought those 3 together, and then I got this, I have no idea how you say it. So I got this for the background of the yoke, and I think those together, that just kind of, I think they all go very nicely with that marsh colour. So a couple of months, yeah, it would have been a couple of months ago, I made a start on a sleeve, and I am going to actually try. Usually I would do the body and sleeves on my chunky machine, but it is, obviously it's easier than hand knitting it, but it is still a pain because everything is flat and you've got to seam it up afterwards, and my chunky machine is just not really that great. It's, I don't know if you can even see it. Yeah, it's this box here. This is a Knitmaster Zippy 90 or something, and it is very much like a hobby machine. Like you get it to knit chunky yarn quickly. It doesn't do it nicely or neatly or anything. You always end up with horrible loops at the end. And so what I thought I would try and do is knit the whole thing properly in the round. And I did, I think as well, because this is expensive yarn, this is nice yarn. Okay, usually I'm doing it with Lopi and everything, which is very forgiving with the way the fibre is. You can see it's quite fluffy, and you can kind of hide not mistakes, but do you know what I mean? It doesn't make it so obvious. And I have done the body and sleeves of one jumper. I did the lighthouse yoke, and I did do all that flat, and it's just, the way it's, because it's so, this is the sleeve that I started ages ago, but the kind of yarn that it is, it's kind, there's a lot of plies to it, and it's very rounded, and what I've discovered, I think I mentioned before, is my ribs are so much better if I do them flat. So that's what I've done with this, is I've done the ribs flat and on way smaller needles, and it's just, I think it looks good. So that's my kind of long-term winter project. I'm going to work on that kind of as and when, and I'm going to try and do the sleeves, do the 2 sleeves first before the body, because sleeves do my head in. I hate knitting on double pointed needles, but I hate doing sleeves on magic loop even more. So I got nice, these are Knit Pro Zings, I think. These are like nice double pointed needles. I'm in pink, not really my thing, but they have like different, for each size has different colours. So I'm gonna try and do that. That's the plan. And I got nice tips for my double pointed needles, so I'm doing them all on the same, and I must have got also 5.5, but I've already sewn them for something else, because I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do all the plain on 5s and then my yoke on 5.5. But I found, because that was what I was finding was my, I did need to go up half a size for my Fair Isle, but I don't know, because the more Fair Isle I'm doing, I'm getting better and it's getting more even, that sometimes I don't need that so much. So it might be by the time I get to the yoke I do just do it on the same size. But yeah, I am looking forward to that, and it's, I don't know, it's got quite a lot of short rows and waist shaping and stuff, which I might not do, because I don't always think that that actually works for my body shape, so we'll see. I probably won't do, most likely won't do waist shaping anyway, because I think with that thicker kind of jumper it just ends up looking, my hips come out a lot lower down than what it kind of wants to do. So yeah, that's one thing in my plan. Another thing I'm planning is, you might have seen, this is the first thing I did that had cropped houses on it, and let me find, so I did, this was for the Fringe and Company knit along, I think it was must be last winter now, and I actually won first prize in the knit along, and I got a gift voucher for I can't remember what the name of the shop is, for the Fringe shop that Karen Templar has, and so that was great. I got loads of stuff for that. And what I did, it was like a Coechian kind of theme, I think it was all vests, and she had some patterns that you could use, or you could kind of use your own, and I had been wanting to do this anyway, so I did. This was the vest I did, and see, this is it. This is the same vest on the cover of this. So this is a Japanese book about kind of Coechian, and I loved this one on the cover, but the teepees, I was not keen on doing that. I thought that was a bit kind of cultural appropriation, so I swapped it out for croft houses. So this is the first thing that I did with croft house motif on it, and I wear this the whole time. This is probably one of the most worn things that I've ever made, and what I used was the old Jimson & Smith with the woolen spun yarn, which I loved, which is discontinued now, held double, and I loved, I honestly, I wear it the whole time. But it's like it was kind of like I was just trying it out. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, so there is things that I would change about it. I would bring these further out and everything, and because I didn't chart it out properly, I just kind of put them into the chart rather than doing it properly. So what I want to do is make another one, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna change out all these motifs and that, and this is something that, so I did it flat, I knit it flat rather than steeking it, which is what I would usually do. And actually obviously I didn't enjoy the purlin Fair Isle, because who does? And anyone who says they do enjoy it, I just don't believe them, because it's just not enjoyable. But I'm tempted to do another one, and I don't know, I like the idea of doing a pattern for it if I can get it to work. So really I'm just wondering if people would be interested in that before I go to the bother of keeping really good notes, where it's, do you know what I mean, if it's just for me, then it doesn't really matter how good your notes are or anything, because it's just for yourself. But and what I thought I would use is the Jimison Smith Chunky, which is a worsted spun, but it doesn't come in those kind of colours. But what it does have is, like I've said, so this is Dunless. This is kind of a mid brown, it's a lovely colour. And then charcoal is just a very dark, very dark grey, almost black. And then this is Cud and Milk, so it's kind of an off-white. And there is a grey, but you would want to really have, this is really the lightest colour, but those three, it smells nice, work quite well together. So I think I'll probably hold this doubled as well, because although this is a chunky, it's not much chunkier than what the Aran was, so I'll be holding that doubled as well. And yeah, I'm not sure whether I am gonna put croft houses in it again, because I don't know whether people are like, okay, get over it. But I loved how it came out, and I do wear that the whole time, so I might do it as, you know, like as a croft house vest, and probably have that as the last thing I do with croft houses on it, because every time I wear that, I get so many compliments on it. So I do think it would be a good pattern to do, and I would be tempted to do it. The patterns in that book is like all Japanese knit patterns, and it is just, the whole thing is charted, and because it's flat, that totally works, because you're just doing it row by row, and then, you know, once you get to the oxers, then you just work the front, and then you do the back, and then you do the other front, and then you do the shawl collar, and I love the shawl collar. And then I think it's quite daunting, but it was such a good thing to make, and because it is chunky, those Purl and Fair Isle, they don't last very long. And I would like to kind of master it, because there's some bits of it, like I didn't know much about, or I was kind of still learning about the dominance and how I was holding the yarn and stuff. So like some of this roof, like you can see here, I was obviously holding this bit more dominant, so it's more, this is like just very much a wearable sample kind of thing. In fact, it's actually freezing in here, so I'm going to put it on. But and like the inside is such a mess, it's like ends. But I did kind of master the like trapping the floats, so I'd like to kind of learn that even more. And yeah, I'm quite excited about that, which is good, because I've kind of not been that excited about my knitting for a little while. So I'm excited to be, it's so cozy, and I love the shawl collar. Like I knew how they were done, so that was great to learn that. But there's this, yeah, this book is called Canadian Knit, and I got it off, it would have been Yes Asia, that's where I get all my Japanese knitting books. And it's a shame, because it's do you know what I mean, I wish there was an English kind of version that I could use to learn more about it all and stuff. But so you can see it's very similar to the one that I came out with. I did see this has got this top bit is a bit different. It's 2 colour, but well, it would have been 3 colour some of the rows, and like that was just too much for me, working back and forth, purling and throwing it. No, I just couldn't deal with it. So, but but there is actually some, because like that's the same one in colours, bright colours, which looks really cool as well. But they have some, so yeah, I am going to properly like swatch and everything if I'm going to try and do it. Like I love that as well. Got sleeves, but that might be too much for me. But there's some really nice stuff in this. There is like this, which is really cool, but like, where would you need knitted shorts, chunky knitted shorts, but it would be warm enough to be wearing shorts? I don't really get that. But there's some really cute children's ones as well. I was going to make that one last year for my niece, but I never got into it. Yeah, because I mean it's got this history, but it's in Japanese, so I mean I have done a bit, and I have a couple of real Koichun, but it's, I mean it's Koichun inspired. I'm not saying it's exactly how, but that's how it's charted out, just exactly. And I actually found that it worked really well for me and made a lot of sense to me. So that's the only issue with it, is I would like to do the charts like that, but if you're going to do different sizes, then you need to do, you need to chart the whole thing, and it would just end up being you'd have so many charts for different sizes. So even if I just ended up, and this is like, they have really good photo tutorials, so even though you can't read it, you can kind of get what they're getting at. And yeah, it's whether it would still be worth doing even if I just did the pattern in one size. So I don't know. I am going to try and take a lot of good notes and anyway for myself, because I'm bad for that. And then maybe people would be interested in it. Anyway, that's the plan. So I'm gonna sorry, I keep yeah, so, and another thing that I would like to do, which is more on my knitting machine, is I was kind of starting, I keep buying, which is what's in this basket behind me, lots of very bright speckled yarns, and I blame Stephen West, and it's, I was trying to think of ways I could use these yarns, because I'm probably, like many people, bad for buying just one hank of this really bright speckled yarn and not knowing what to do with it. And I was thinking about, on knitting machines has a lot of, you can do kind of like textured slip stitch things that you can't really do by hand anyway. And I was kind of trying out with, this is one which I think was on one of my last videos, and this is actually the, yeah, this is the back. So this is what it would look like on the front, and it ends up actually just looking like, it's just like plain knitting, and then the back is this kind of textured honeycomb kind of effect, which I thought was really quite cool and kind of made the speckles a bit less obvious. So what I did make with some of this speckled yarn that I had been hoarding was this, just like, it's just a circular scarf, and it was like, this is hedgehog fibres I think, and then this too is Madeline Tosh. And I've not even washed this, which I never used to understand. Like, I became, because with Fair Isle and Shetland wool and everything, like the washing and dressing it is such a big part of it, and like I would never, do you know what I mean, never think that something was finished until I washed and blocked it and everything. But I can see why people who knit with these kind of yarns a lot you don't get in that kind of mindset, because this really doesn't need to be washed at all. Even though I did it on the knitting machine, it just kind of came off and it was perfect, and I actually don't want to wash it because I think that might kind of change. And then also with this hand dyed yarns that go on about bleeding and stuff. So I just did it flat and then seamed it at the bottom, and then I kind of tried to graft it together, but it didn't really work very well. But it's very cozy, and it kind of made me think about something I could make with this texture stitch. And I had an idea. There's a Stephen West yoke pattern, which I think is called Reese, which the body and sleeves kind of has like a slip stitch, like a hand knitted effect. And if I could do something with this kind of, you can kind of see it there. It's just a really nice, and it's quite like cushy and warm. And if I could find, I could do something with that has like just a 1-in-1 yoke the whole way up in all different colours, and it looks great. And I thought that could be a way I could use up some of these crazy one, because what I was trying to find was, I love the way that those yarns look in garter stitch, but really I'm too lazy to, I love the look of garter stitch with like 4-ply yarn, but I'm too lazy to knit it because I get bored. And I was trying to find texture stitches which kind of mimicked the effect of garter stitch, and this kind of does. It's just got a bit of texture to it, and it'll lie flat. Because I even had an idea as I could use this stitch for the middle of a hat, I kind of thought, and then do, anyway. And yeah, so I thought I could do something with this stitch in the body and then use these, but what I don't have is enough of any of these kind of yarns, because I think you would really need to use all kind of merino. I would need to kind of have the same vibe the whole way through, because I think if I use Shetland wool, which I've got copious amounts of, I think the feeling would be too different between the two of it. So that was one thing I was thinking, which is not even what I was planning on talking about. But what I do want to do is with Shetland wool, and I have done one. I tried that stitch with Shetland wool, and it does still give the same kind of effect. And even this is what I liked, is when you change colours is you don't get like a harsh line, because it's this, I think, must be when I was swatching, because my idea initially was to do it like a circle scarf and not fold it over and just have it flat, but that ended up being too wide, so I folded it over. But this was when I was testing to see if I could have it flat, which I think you definitely could, because you really can't. It just looks like this hasn't been washed. I need to wash this for you to see it. But what I was thinking was I would quite like, well actually what I would really like in this texture stitch would be a jumper. But what happens on a knitting machine when you get past the oxers and you slip for the oxers, then you have to take needles out into like hold position, and then like shape one side and then cast it off, and then take these needles back in and then shape that other side, which is fine with, well, I say fine, I've kind of nearly mastered it with some things, but I don't know how it works with this slip-in, because needles aren't doing the same thing every time. So I wouldn't want to, you would take it out into hold and then do this and then put it back on, and then the slip-in had been at a different point, and I think it would be, I need to investigate more. So yeah, ideally what I would like would be a jumper, and even I was thinking like something kind of with raglans. I think it would be really cool. But because I'm not going to be able to do that until I've done a bit more reflection and swatching, then I thought a cardigan with this slip stitch would be really cool and really warm. I think because it's got that like almost holy like circular texture, is that it's like, it holds a lot of warmth. So I am definitely going to do that in jumper weight. And I was thinking either this, yeah, this is shade 27 and this is 81, the charcoal, and this is 2009 in the middle, which is the undyed grey, which is a bit it's a bit warm in this swatch. But I was thinking maybe 81, the dark charcoal. I think that would be really nice. But I will just have to remember that what my final fabric will be is the back, which is going to confuse me, because when you're on the knit machine you're looking at the back of it and the front is, you know, away from you because you're doing this, and I'll have to remember that what is looking towards me is going to be the front for decreasing and all that kind of stuff. Because this is, I want to try, and you know, my knitting machine has been kind of, I've just been using it for my cushions and for Fair Isle and plain knitting for bodies and stuff, and I want to learn how to use it properly for making garments, because I'm kind of moving away from making the cushion and making things to sell now. So I want to really learn proper skills about putting together garments and stuff, and kind of utilise, because I have Design in It, which I mainly use, that's like a software for my knit machine, which I mainly use just for the Fair Isle patterns. And with this is you can make shaped garments as long as you do proper gauge swatches and stuff. That old chestnut. Then as long as you measure all that properly and stuff, then you can in theory make garments that fit you. So that is what I would like to do, and I need to think about what, because what I like to do is trim anything I make with, like I'm going to make cardigans, I like doing garter stitch button bands. But with this that might not work because this is texture. I might have to actually do like a 1-in-1. I would probably do 1-in-1 rib, and I was thinking like I would have like a really nice deep rib on the sleeves and stuff. I think it'd be quite cool. Maybe even in a different colour. Maybe in one of the other greys. Well, that would be nice. So so yeah, that's what I've been thinking about as well. And I thought I would talk about, because I've been being very good over the last, I would say, year or so, is I've kind of gotten my library of the classic knitting books that in my opinion everybody needs to have, and any book about Shetland knitting, book about Shetland knitting that anybody could have, would have, I do have, including all the Japanese ones and all that kind of stuff. So, but recently there's been a few books that's come out that I've got, and one of the first ones is this, The Woolens by Jared Flood, and I love everything that Brooklyn Tweed does. That I just love all the styling and the way they put everything together. So when I saw this, I didn't even know what kind of projects was going to be in it, but I was like, I need to have it. And it's just, yeah, everything about it, just the styling, and it's quite Japanese style. Japanese knitting books are quite like this, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever make anything from it. I would like to, but you know what it's like. But I think it's just, and I got it from Loop in London, so I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to get it, if he was going to, I didn't want to buy it from Brooklyn Tweed because I knew it would probably get the old customs charge, but I would have loved a signed one. But I think, I was going to speak about it later on, but Edinburgh Yarn Festival, it's just been announced this week that Brooklyn Tweed is going to go there, and Brooklyn Tweed is one of my faves, absolute faves. I have quite a bit of their yarn, but really it's just their whole vibe, and I just love it. So I don't know if Jared Flood is going to be there, but I would love to meet him if he is going to be there. So I'm very excited about that. Another book I got, which is this Knitting from the North by Hilary Grant, and I was most interested actually in getting this because the publisher, this Kyle Books is the ones that publish this, they actually contacted me, I don't know, about the beginning of this year I think, about maybe doing a book with them, which I actually decided not to do. And they told me at the time that there was that Hilary was doing a book, so I knew when it came out I wanted to get it just to see what it was like, because it was like people that had spoken to me. And I decided against it because I kind of spoke to people around me, and long term that I would rather wait and do a book when I feel ready. I mean, I was so flattered to be asked. If somebody phones you up and is like, we want you to do a book, then you're like, me? Well. And then when I spoke to them and they told me what they wanted and stuff, just with Wool Week and everything, it would have been mental. I would have absolutely destroyed myself if because this would have been about the time that they wanted, like I just would never have been able to have done it. And because they wanted really mainly garments, and I would, at that stage I wouldn't have even had done a garment pattern yet, which I have done now. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I knew when this book came out I'd wanted to get it to see what it was like, and it's lovely. I love Hilary's stuff. Being someone who was kind of doing machine knitted things and stuff, I've always looked at her kind of stuff, and it's lovely, and it's all done. It's in, I think everything in it is in Jameson's yarn, so I would be able to match that with stuff from my work. But it's the styling and the photography is lovely. So that's that one. I got this. I'm working on some secret stuff, and I haven't really done like after, so I've done my Flora Mitts pattern, which I released just before Wool Week. Yeah, I did. And like with my the Craft House Mitts, which I did for the Wool Week annual, I haven't done a lot of mittens or anything patterns, so I'm kind of working towards doing more. And I must have been looking on Amazon, I think it was about the same time as I got that, and I seen this book and it had just come out, and Jorid Lindvik's Big Book of Knitted Mittens, and 45 distinctive Scandinavian patterns. And I think once I was looking through it, I recognised some patterns that I'd seen on Ravelry. I was going to find, yeah, like I've definitely seen this one before, but it's quite good. It's got some kind of initial stuff about tips and stuff, and then I just find it's this kind of thing, it's good to see how other people put these patterns together, because sometimes it's like you know how you would do it and know what you're doing, but you don't know how you would write it. So, but there's absolutely loads in here, and a lot of it, I'm not into that like very kind of pictorial stuff, but some of them are a bit more kind of classic and Scandinavian. And what I also like is seeing the different cuffs and different way people put that together. So that was a good one. I also got this, which is the West Knits Best Knits, and when I seen this was coming out I was like, oh, definitely. And I mean I have quite a few, not that many Stephen West patterns. I love the way he styles things and the colours he puts together, and yeah, totally blame him for buying all this crazy. Really, it was after like Edinburgh and like Stephen and Penelope, like the yarn shop he has in Amsterdam, they had all that hedgehog fiber stuff and all the kits and stuff for his patterns that really set me on this stupid buying all this speckled yarn and never doing anything with it yet. But there was a couple of these patterns I did have, maybe 3 or 4 of them, but I just I knew that I needed to get it, because I think even if you don't like the colours and stuff, if you just go on Ravelry and look at some of the patterns and the projects and other colours that people have put together, then it doesn't have to be kind of this crazy bright, but that's what I love about it. But like this, the exploration station, I would love, see I think the he's kind of got, I don't know if he's still doing it, like a lot of the brioche stuff, which totally terrifies me. I would love to do that exploration station, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that brioche. Anything that requires 2 rows to do 1 row of knitting, I just think just looks so good. So I really need, I bought, yeah, because I had that bright coral, yeah, hedgehog fibres that I bought at Edinburgh. I did think I would do a dotted raise, so that's one of the patterns I did have. Was that, and I would still like to make that. But there's just, the whole thing is just so inspiring, and I just need to, I think I need to just make, I need to make one Stephen West shawl pattern, and then I think I would get the bug. But there's all this ones with garter stitch I think would be good for me for using up some of those things. But yeah, I pre-ordered this, so I got it directly from Stephen and Penelope. But and one book that I thought I would mention, because I probably haven't said anything about it yet, was the Shetlander's Farewell Graph book, which came out just before Wool Week. Nice timing for all the people that are in Shetland, so it was good. We got a box at my work at Jimson Smith, which I think we got through in about a week and a half, and that had about 40 in it, so a lot of people went for it. And what it is it's somebody's own personal graph books. Like a lot of Shetlanders have. I have one that I can show you. It's not mine, but yeah, so this is one that I have borrowed from my work. So it's just this was Eva Smith's one, and it's like people just used to hand draw out all their patterns and stuff. Like this is ones for Norwegian stars for yokes and stuff, and like this is what you'll mainly see if anybody ever has ones, is that they're in black and white and they're just dotted out like how they are in like the in the Al Starmore book and other ones like that. So that's what's unusual about this, is that it's in colour. The people they've charted it out in colour. So like for example, I decided to take, I'm making a hat for my dad for his birthday, and I thought I would try, see if I can find it in here, I would try using one of these patterns and doing it in the colours that have been so that's the one I went for. So I'll when I get that done, I'll hopefully, and then I was thinking I might do a pattern for it, but then I don't know if I can, because it's not, do you know what I mean, it's from, but anyway, but yeah, so this is good, and I mean a lot of it is, do you know what I mean, it's colours I wouldn't put together, but these are from the 1940s, and like that's which I think is quite good that they didn't, there probably is people who think they should have taken this out, but like, so it has the swastika, so this is obviously, this one says pre-war, but I have seen that before. If you go, there was a day I went to Adelaide, they had like a knitting day, and that had lots, there was a thing with lots of swatches, and that had a swastika on it as well. So that, I mean, they used to do it in Shetland knitting, so you can't hide it, but I think it's quite interesting that they kept it in. But, and it's like, okay, so that's quite good because it's like, there's fringes and stuff. Very neat. And you think, imagine if you did something like this, you'd never think it would be published in a book. You'd probably do it even neater if you knew that. But yeah, it's just inspiring seeing how somebody would put colours together, and if you would ever put those colours together, and you can use the idea of it. You know, you could take whatever colour they've used there and swap it out for something else, and as long as, you know what I mean, if you follow the kind of value of the tones and stuff, it would still work. So yeah, that you can still get. It's £20, but I mean there's a lot in here, and it's, if you're, I actually did a review for it for the Shetland Times, for our local paper, and what I said about it was just, if you were interested in Shetland knitting, this was something you needed to have in your kind of library, which I still stand by that statement. So I think it's a good one. And then one book which I got, which came yesterday, which is quite a departure from my usual style, and one of the reasons I think I got it was if you know me, you'll know that I buy a lot of knitwear. And I kind of went through a phase I think it would have been last year, of trying to add some kind of Aran cardigans and jumpers to my collection, and I did get a few off eBay, and none of them I was just really that enamoured with. And I was going through, because I'm trying to think about getting rid of a lot of my knitwear that I've bought that I never wear or never even look at or whatever. And I was saying to my mum about this Aran cardigan. Well, there was two of them really, and I think the other one I probably am still going to get rid of. But with this one, she said, well, because it was, I'll show you the cardigan anyway. And so it's got pockets in. And I said it was so hard. It was really, do you know what I mean? It's been done in proper Aran yarn, and it was so hard and like fusty smelling and everything. And she said, well, why don't you wash it and then decide if you want to keep it or not. So I washed it and boarded it, and it was missing some buttons, so I bought more of this. It's those like leather football buttons, which are bloody expensive, I found, when I was trying to get ones. Unless if you want to get plastic ones, then they're cheap, but I want to get proper ones. And I washed it and it came lovely, and it's pretty soft now, and I wore it I think on Friday at work, and I was so warm, and yeah, so pleased with that. And that kind of put me on to, although I must have ordered this before, it can't remember, but I bought the Nora Gone Knitted Cables source book, and I think she is one of the, I'm sure, designers for the Brooklyn Tweed, alongside a couple of different other people, and like Michelle Wong and people like that, is one of the Brooklyn Tweed designers. And so this book, Jared Flood has done the photos, and as we know, I like the way he does photos and things. But I'm just, yeah, cables is one of those things I have never done, and I've always been like, cables is, to me, when I look at cables, do you know what I mean, can't even get my head around how people do it, which is what I know a lot of people think about Fair Isle, whereas to me Fair Isle is easy peasy. And I thought I would get this, just, I don't know, I think I just thought that it would be a good book to get. And a lot of it is, and it's, well, see, it's a breakthrough guide to knitting with cables and designing your own. And it's just full of different cables, and there is quite a few patterns and stuff. And I was reading like in the introduction she had about how like when she's knitting cables, or when she's knitting and then she thinks, oh, like just I'll get to the next cable and see what this bit looks like. And that's what I feel like with Fair Isle. When I'm knitting Fair Isle, like kind of I do, like I'll just do a little bit more and see what this bit looks like, do a little bit more. So if that theory is the same for somebody doing cables as what it is for me doing Fair Isle, then in theory I would be able to get into it. So and it's got a lot about, because I did cast on one Brooklyn Tweed hat cable pattern, and then I never realised about the whole holding the yarn to the front or to the back, and whatever I'd done it wrong, so I just ripped it out and got mad and never looked at it again. But I would like to try. And then I seen like the new Brooklyn Tweed yarn looks, the Arbor, it's like a DK weight, and it looks amazing in like cabled hats and stuff. I thought it just looked so nice. So when I go to Edinburgh and Brooklyn Tweed is there, then I would like to buy some of that for doing something cabley. But I do think, I mean, I think a hat is really more what we're thinking about here. I can't imagine I would ever have the patience to do something like that cardigan, which also it has the whole knitting it flat debate, which with cables might just tip me over the edge. So something in the round that gets smaller as I go, I think is. But I think I got it off Amazon, and it came from America, so it took a little while to get here, but yeah, and a lot of it is it's cable designs and stuff she's put together herself. But things like, I just think that looks so nice. That's the chunky cardigan, and I must have seen some of the patterns on Ravelry, because I had been aware of this book but I didn't realise that it had patterns in it as well. And it's quite interesting. She has about, do you know what I mean, how cables look different in different yarns. Like this has obviously been quite a flat yarn that she's used for that one, because like I can see all that, like the Quince & Company Osprey and stuff would be perfect for cables. So yes, yeah, so that's that book, which is very different for me, but I think it's good to have one one book about cables, something a bit different. So so that I think is my books for a while. I've done a bit of damage, and I think also because I've been trying not to buy yarn, so I've been buying books instead. But yeah, on that, so I'm gonna go to, I've booked my flights and everything for Edinburgh Yarn Festival in March next year. So obviously I was there this year with Shetland Wool Week, so I'm very much looking forward to being there kind of on my own, under my own steam, and doing my own thing. And I can, yeah, so the plan is not to buy any yarn until Edinburgh. Now there is ways around this. If there is things on eBay which are so bargainous that one can't pass it up, then that's fine. Or if there's something like a limited edition that I'll never be able to get again, that's fine. Or just in general, yeah, if it's just too much of a bargain to pass up, go for it. Like if there's a big sale or something, then that's fine. But as a general rule, or presents, that doesn't count. People buy me yarn for presents. And so as a general rule, I will not be purchasing yarn until Edinburgh. So I've got a lot of saving up to do. I'm going to do a lot of planning before I go. Look at all the different people, a lot of different people there that I'm excited about. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I thought I would finish off by saying about when I've been knitting. So I've been still watching all my knitting podcasts, and there's two I've been really enjoying. And so one is the Gentle Knitters podcast, which is Nicole, and I think I'm sure she mentioned, I think it was her, not this one just been, but the one before, then she mentioned me and like the Wool Week annual, which I don't have here, but, and like she held it up and I was like, oh my god, because it's got my pattern on the cover, and then she said my name and I was like, oh my god. And whereas I think I did speak about her in my last one, and yeah, I met her a couple of years ago when she was in Shetland, and I love everything about her podcast and everything, brilliant. And the charm of it as well, which is Eva, and she's gone to now, she's doing she does a kind of long, maybe an hour and a half, going through everything one week, and then the next week she does just like her works in progress, and she's so detailed and like a amazing knitter, is so much better than do you know what I mean, so much more organised and everything, and planning ahead, and so much more patient than me, that I just love. I really enjoy watching and seeing what those kind of people are like, because I'm a bit more gung-ho about everything. So but yeah, I've really been enjoying her two different kinds, the long podcast and then a kind of shorter one and then a longer one, and then it's like every week. I think Nicole, the gentle knitter, is, I think she tries to do every 2 weeks, or maybe even every 3 weeks, or longer. And I've been kind of dipping in and out of different ones as well. I think it's the sticks and twine one as well, and Andre Sue Knits, I watched a couple of them, and I've been watching quite a few of the ones about after Rhinebeck. I'm trying to think about if I could ever justify going there. No, Ella, you can't, or not for the foreseeable future, because it's like just after Shetland Wool Week, and I mean, really, I couldn't go to America. Well, I would love to go to America. I want to go to America, just to go to that at this stage in the game. Maybe in a few years I would love to, but it looks amazing. And yeah, so Edinburgh is my next thing to look forward to, really. And yeah, I'm just working on some other designing things, and so this is really what I've been talking about, is my selfish knitting for the next couple of months, as we're getting near to Christmas. I might make some Christmas knitting, but I doubt it. I do have, yeah, my dad's hat that I was telling you about. Might do a pattern for that, and I've got some other ideas for bits and pieces, but I've probably been talking for a very long time. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully be back shortly. If you ever need to contact me, want to contact me, I am Ella Gordon on Instagram, the same on Ravelry, I think. My blog is ellagordondesigns.co.uk, and any other contact details will be on there. So if you yeah, if there's anything you want to contact me about, always happy to chat. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye!